Princess Okerugo, aka the Radio Chef. How you doing?
Hi guys, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Quite
I'm good.
an introduction. I don't think anybody has introduced me like that before. I feel like
Thank you.
Yes.
You know, it's special. Everybody's special when they come on this show. We only
I
interview
do feel
special show.
I do
Yeah.
feel special. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay.
It's an honor.
So let's jump right into it. That term A&R has become a buzzword. Yes, almost everybody's an A&R right now.
It's the fun part. It's the fun name.
It's a fun
for the
name.
Jobs
Okay.
in the music industry.
But what does an A&R do for people who don't know?
I mean, so we're kind of like the mediators between the label and the artist. In mediator in the sense that even for starters, if you're signing an artist, you're the one that's coming to tell the label that this guy is a guy that we should have on our roster. And then you're the one telling the guy that you should trust this label to handle your career type situation. So you're basically like the middleman that kind of makes the sync between label and artist, or like management and artist, so to say. And then obviously, if there's no way you are the mediator without being across the repertoire itself. So let's say artist and repertoire. The repertoire being the recordings, the music, the actual art of the artist, and then the artist in himself, so branding and everything. So we kind of like sit across everything just to like make sure that the artist is being taken from point A to point B, both as an artist and both as a recording artist. Yeah.
Interesting. That's interesting. And do you get to work with every artist in the label?
Yeah, so it typically depends on the size of the label. In some labels, if the roster is huge, you might be sitting across maybe fixed artists and not necessarily everybody on the roster. But depending on the size of the label, which, I mean, if you know, West Africa for now, for example, for Sony is still like a budding label, so to say. So there's not that many staff. So obviously, there's not many of us cut across the artists on the roster. But basically,
Okay, so how does one become an A&R? Is it just having good ear for music, or do you have to do some courses? Do you have to intern somewhere? Do you have to shadow an artist for a while?
I think it's different for different trajectories, so to say. But being an A&R means that you are cutting across a lot of things. For example, you need to also have connections. Say, for example, you're trying to get an artist in the studio. How best are you going to get producers to have the time for that artist? There's a bunch of artists everywhere. Why would I stop to record your artist? So like, you have to have good relationships, obviously have good ears for music, be able to know that a song is good, so to say, in all ramifications, be able to also understand the business in the sense of, say, clearing music, clearing samples, all of those things. Yeah, so there's a bunch of things that come together to make for the skill of the job. For me, I would say radio did shape in my idea of what I was, should I say, called to do, so to say, because, I mean, starting off from wanting to be on the radio as a host and loving music in itself, getting the opportunity to then schedule music, I'm like, to be honest, I love the music so much, I'm willing to sacrifice being on air as the person talking about the music and rather sit behind the screen and
Schedule
give
music.
people the best music to listen to.
Really?
So yeah, I did stop chasing the career in being a
On
host.
radio, you just wanted to schedule.
To schedule music, because I love the feeling of contributing to moving the needle in the sense of, oh, this guy is dope and I think that everybody should listen to this guy.
Okay.
So all of those things just made me be like, okay, why do I care about the music that people listen to so much? You know, and then having those ears, having artist friends, they're like, oh, listen to this. Do you think I should put this out? And then I found myself in a lot of situations where I said, put this out, and it actually went crazy. So I'm like, okay, so maybe there's something here for me. And I started, you know, wanting to sit in sessions, wanting to say, oh, this guy, work with this guy as a producer, or work with this guy as a writer. And then it somehow kept making sense. So getting to then interview for a job like A&R Manager at Sony, and then having those interviews and being certified that, okay, these things I've been doing on ground, just randomly, people, I mean, I didn't even have A&R in my bio, to be fair, till I actually officially got a job as an A&R. I just saw that those little things that were just random and were I was doing for fun somehow made for the job. And so here we are.
That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
So far that you've been working, you worked with a lot of artists. What's the most challenging project or artist that you've ever had to work with that tested your music interest, your music knowledge? Yeah.
I would say, well, in recent times, typically maybe having to be a part of the story of breaking out an artist like King Madi, because there are not many young female artists that age, that talented, making strides, so to say. So being able to be there from the jump as to how it all played out and actually moving the needle to a point where everybody stopped and we're like, okay, there's a young kid on the block and she's here, type thing. That kind of like, it was I didn't see it happening as fast as it did as well, because we were able to push that needle in less than 3 years, and I don't think that a lot of young artists have been able to get that kind of face time in that short amount of time. So yeah, that one was as difficult as it was interesting.
Have you ever had to, be on a project where you didn't believe in maybe the sound or the direction that the artist wanted to take, and they proved you wrong? Whereby you just felt like, I don't think this is what we should put out. I don't think, and the artist is like, no, this is, and it worked. And vice versa, where you felt like, okay, we should put this out, and
that I have stories for, but the former I don't actually, because I don't think I've ever been in a situation where an artist was like, this is what I want to put out, and I agreed, and it didn't.
Or you disagreed.
Or I disagreed, and then it went, and it went.
And
no,
it did well.
No, on the contrary, I have stories of me saying this is the one, and then artists insisting that that's the one, and then we come back to, I told you so.
Okay. Okay, maybe they didn't want to put out the one you wanted,
so
but
like
eventually...
okay, for example, Maddie's debut EP, she did think that the one could be Vision. Before we had the remix, of course, Vision was going to be the one. I had said American Love was the one.
Yeah.
I said it from even before we put out music, but then she had gone and she teased Vision first and all of that, and then the EP dropped and everybody gravitated towards American Love. I was like, I told you guys. That has happened for a couple of other artists. I probably just can't remember those scenarios off the top of my head right now, but I still will have one I'm debating with a dev artist of mine right now.
Okay.
Amara. So his next drop, I
like him.
Oh yeah,
I like him.
Okay, thank you.
The first song he dropped, I really liked it.
So the next record we're trying to drop, he from the jump when he recorded the song is like, I don't really like this song, but I'm like, that's, you don't know what we're talking about. And
you are not the customer.
So hopefully when that one comes out, it doesn't spoil my streak.
Okay. I'm trying to keep a clean slate. Okay, that's fantastic. Now, speaking of Afrobeat broadly now, it would appear that Afrobeat has plateaued. Especially if you're trying to compare it to the 2020 or Malay, when we took off, even before Malay, when Ye took the world by storm, that level, last level. Now in the past 3 years, I don't think we have that level of success with a particular song, sound, or artist. Not that people are not doing well in other markets or their songs are not going viral, but it's been a minute, and you kind of see that some of these artists who I would say are the flag bearers, it seems like they're fishing for the next sound. They're just trying to, there's a lot of, they're putting out stuff, but you can quite tell that the sound is diverse now. It's now diluted. We don't know what it is. So what do you think is the next phase for Afrobeats? Do you think we're doing well? Do we think we should be worried as casual observers? Should we be worried that, okay, somebody needs to come with a master stroke?
I mean, I'm not the one in charge of the universe, but I would say that I think we just had a bit of a, should I say, craze. And so everything is just trying to die back down and level back up. And so I feel like we're still going to get these types of wins, but like, obviously, right now, everybody just needs to hit the drawing board and just like re-strategize. I mean, after those times, we still had the Remas with the Calm Down. We still had Irastadu Rush. Maybe they were not. Maybe Rush and wasn't like up there like Calm Down, but like that was still a moment.
It was.
So I just feel like the system is just cleansing out to rebirth another set of something interesting, because I mean music is music, you know. Music don't need permission to enter your spirit, like they say. So I just feel like based off of the fact that I mean we got to a point where we had Phils was going crazy with the record with
but that level,
Finesse, you know, all of that. So we had an influx of, should I say, investments at the time because of how loud our things were and how open we were with it. And so obviously that's inflated our market. So all of those things just kind of like shook us up a bit, and I feel like now everything is just trying to, you know, die down, cleanse up again, and then obviously maybe in like a year or less than we might still have something new or something interesting. I think that everybody's just hitting the drawing board and trying to figure out what next they can do and how best they can do it. And to be fair, it doesn't only happen in our market, not only with our genre. We had a time when reggae was going crazy, and at some point it died down again, and then it came back up again with the coffee, and then, you know, so I just feel like this is just one of those minutes for Afrobeats and for like African music where we just need to, you know, calm down, get back in our element, and then do something interesting again.
Do you think like the big artists, the big Afrobeats artists, are now experimenting so much with their sound, trying to appeal to foreign markets rather than homegrown, you know, audiences, and that's the reason why the music is not, I would say, is not the kind that we are used to hearing from them? I'm not saying that they shouldn't grow as artists though, but you kind of feel like even lifestyle, even imagery, even the sound, they seem to be pandering to the US market and all of that. Do you think this is going to help or hurt Afrobeat?
I feel like it kind of goes both ways, because at the end of the day, these people also need to feed. And so with where music streaming and all that is in Africa, we don't necessarily pay as much as the foreign markets would. So typically I think it's more a business strategy as an artist that knows he or she is versatile, to just be like, if I can cater to these guys and cater to those guys at the same time, I mean, it pays me more because there's money in the bank. You get to play festivals outside, because how many festivals do we really have happening in Africa? So at the end of the day, I feel like we are too harsh on them when we try to make it seem like they're selling out, so to say, because at the end of the day, man's gotta feed, you know. Man's gotta feed. The Lamborghini will not buy itself, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'm very open-minded to it, because sometimes it actually births for something interesting. For example, Whiskey's Morayo. That was a nice twist to being an international African artist, if you get what I'm saying. So sometimes I do think that interesting stuff comes out of it, so I see why as well. I think I'll just I'll agree with that. Do you also think that this generalization of the Afrobeats genre is also limiting the voices that are doing other things? Do you think that that's also responsible for why we now feel like Afrobeats is no longer packing the punch? There's actually that. But I see people have different, should I say, ideas behind why that is. It's just easier for you to identify with Afrobeats as like a Nigerian artist, because it kind of just helps tell your story, so to say. So I would say that, should I say it is what it is at the end of the day, because like, yes, it does. I see the disadvantages for the people that are definitely doing other genres that are not Afro beats in any way, but I also see why it's easier to be affiliated like that, because that's the one story that has been told, if there's anything. So and then most times these other people are doing genres that already have pre-existing stories, so it's like, how best are you trying to give it a twist to tell it as a new story, you know? So that's why at the end of the day, you see people making up genres like Afro rock and, you know, all of those things, which it's how new things are born, to be honest. You never know, in the next 10 years there might be someone has produce some interesting twist to rock with some Afro drums in there, and it might start to be a thing. And before you know it, we're saying Afro rock too. So I hear the downsides, but I also understand that some people just need to affiliate to something that is profound and is different and is new in entirety. Because if you're a Nigerian doing reggae story has already been told.
Yes.
You know, if you say you're doing hip hop has been told by so many people. So
many
this
versions.
one is just like a new story that everybody's just pretty much trying to put in their own like script. So I see why it's easy for other genres to get swallowed in the Afrobeats.
I personally feel I'm not even afraid for Afrobeats, especially the one that is powered by Nigerians, because we've given it the culture out, so different people are doing Afrobeats, which is fine. But I know that Nigeria, our level of creativity and our diversity just finds expression in new ways. So we will definitely come up with something else that the world is going to be like, what is really going on? What's that? So I'm not that scared. But let's talk about Alte, the Alte movement. Before all of this, we had Alte back in the day when Nigeria was just commercial music, bangers from the big three and all of that. And we thought that Alte would get to another level. And now that there's Afrobeats have been opened up into the world, and we have people like Thames, because I would say she's from that Alte background. Yes, but what do you think? Because I don't know if Alte as a movement or as a genre is getting a lot of spotlight.
Yeah, so that's one part that I'm very, very, should I say, I'm still learning about what it is to the people that pioneer it, so to say. But for me, in the initial stage, I did think that Alte was a movement, more like a community, than it was a genre, so to say. Because for me, Alte was like LOS Boys, Alte was Black Magic, Alte was Ajebota.
They were counterculture.
So it was just like these guys doing things differently, even though, because typically there are some Black Magic songs that like are still like proper mainstream Afrobeat records if you really like pay attention. So like at the end of the day, I did think it was like a movement, a set of people that just feel like they're not doing things like the normal guys. They're not trying to dress like the normal guys. They're not trying to attend the events that the normal guys are going to. You know, they're just trying to do their thing in their own world, not trying to really conform to, you know, what everybody's doing. But I then did notice that at some point with the Odunsis and the Santis, it then became a sound.
A sound,
Yeah. And so I think, yes, the attention on Afrobeats kind of like, should I say, took away the importance of that movement, because I know that there were a lot of people that used to pioneer that, Bodge, you know, Ajebota 22, all of that. So it kind of even felt like some of those people were now trying to do things normal at some point. The Bodge and the Ajebotas, you know, we're trying to do all of that. So right now, I don't really know where they are, because I mean, I see Santi is even streaming these days.
It's now a streamer
and everything. So I feel like maybe they've maybe just gone back to it being a movement, because I then see that there are events happening that you still see these people with their counterculture really still gathering together and doing their thing. So maybe it has gone back to being a movement other than a genre. That might be my argument.
I think it's welcome. I think it's welcome. I think Nigeria is much more than mainstream Afrobeats. I think people are out there doing things and experimenting, and I think they deserve to be signed as well. So it brings me to my next question. What do you look out for when you are pitching an artist to your label? Like, what kind of artist? What does the artist need to have that will make you believe that, you know what, this is the next best thing? And is there a particular sound you're looking for that you haven't made big, for example, like a different artist? Because I'm sure you might be looking for something different.
Yeah, so I think I'm always looking for something different. I don't think that I outrightly ever know a genre in mind of an artist. That for me, music is, like I said, music no need permission to enter your spirit. Like, I listen to literally every genre if it's great music to my ears. So for me, it's just about how special you are, how much you stand out from the average man that can sing, you know, because at the end of the day, lots of people can sing. So what makes you so special to put you in the limelight and know that everybody's going to stop and pay attention to you? Because there's still other people that are still trying to do this thing and they've not gotten attention. So at this point, it's like you have to be looking out for someone that you know can garner some sort of attention. So I'll say diversity in how you do your music. So to say your sound, audibility, brand, like if you already have a persona, you've got swag, riz, like we like to call it, all of those little things gathering together, good looks and great music, and knowing that you have a personality that can be sold. The people see you and will just like you. There's just people like that you just see and you're like, oh, this guy, if everybody saw him, they would just like him. Yeah, I feel like people like Wizkid have that effect. He walks in the room and even if you don't know a Wizkid, you just be like, that's a cool guy. So most times we're just looking out for everything and anything that makes you as distinct as possible. So to say, sometimes it's even the genre that will make you distinct. You might be doing some a Fuji in some way that nobody has ever done it before, and so that makes for you being an interesting artist. For me, it's never genre limiting.
Specific.
Yeah, like even with, I don't see gender, I don't see genre. I just hear good music.
I like the way we're segueing in this conversation, because now you just mentioned gender.
Yeah.
Yes, so why I like the fact that there's so many female artists popping up, doing great things, selling out stadiums. Ira Star, shout out to Ira Star, shout out to Thames, Bloody Civilian, people, everybody's, the people, I've seen more females and I like it.
Yeah.
But, there's this myth, so I don't know if it exists, especially with managers and people, labels, finding it difficult to sign female artists, especially at indie record labels, because there seems to be a lot more intentionality and care that comes with promoting other than men. Do you agree? Do women, especially sometimes women don't even like working with women, and I've heard cases of some female artists who have fired several managers, so it's, I don't know, is that a thing, or is just perception or stereotype?
Yeah, so it's a thing. It is a thing. I won't lie, it's a thing, because definitely we all know that the maintenance of a woman as
high maintenance,
as an artist is different from maintenance as a man. And then obviously with us too, we can't defy the odds when it comes to like aging and birth and all of those things. Women will get pregnant, women will have kids, all of those things. So those are things that I'm guessing a lot of label people factor into when they're having to deal with women. And so investment wise, it is a lot more, should I say, expensive to deal with a female artist for a label that most likely is doing like a 360 deal or whatever the case may be. So yes, that is a case. But also on the other hand, labels would actually most times rather sign female artists, because women have a lot more to give you than just music. In terms of looks, we are classified as the gender with the looks. We're the gender that,
highly sellable.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, when a label happens to get an artist that is a female and
she's hot,
and they know that, okay, even if I'm going to be spending a lot, this artist is definitely going to bring me back my money, is always a good one for them. But then obviously with every good one there's always the downsides, which means obviously they'll play the cards of women being emotional and women divas, all of those things. We know. But like at the end of the day, it is what it is. Something has to give, right?
I know. I just reminded me of something, back in the day when I started a group with a friend of mine. It was just two of us. We had this great idea that, we're just two guys. I rap, you sing. Let's throw in a female. Let's have this Black Eyed Pea thing going on. I was like, it's a wonderful idea. I don't think there's any group in Nigeria that ever came out that had that dynamic. It was beautiful at the time. But I said, you know what? I don't want to deal with the fact that something might be going on with somebody. You might just put your hand in the cookie jar and that would change the dynamics of the business. So I was like, nah, right? So those are, I'm just saying that to say that those are some of the considerations that just come up, and which is, well, you can say it's unfair to women, but it is what it is.
It can be, it really can be. But like I said, something has to give. At the end of the day, we're all humans dealing with humans, different backgrounds, different mindsets. So,
great. So far, so good. A&R Manager at Sony Music West Africa. What's up? Which gist can you give us now?
What gist?
Exclusive. What are you working on?
I mean,
what should we look out for from the radio chef?
Obviously, artists on the roster have been busy. Jackie has an album coming.
Okay.
She just put out a recent single, Unconditional.
Oh, okay.
Mayor Combs dropped his last album. He just dropped Still the Mayor.
I like Sankofa.
Sankofa, yes, that's a jam.
Why?
That was
Why did we drop another song? Until I think
we're
that was
rolling
like.
out the album.
I think that song is really moving.
Yes, moving.
Yeah.
We're going towards the album, so we're just trying to
Okay.
give you guys an interesting rollout. Unconditional 2 is also really good, and that one is also still starting to move. And then the album comes pretty soon. I think by the end of August or thereabout, we should have an album out. Mayo has Still the Mayo out. We just rolled out a new artist, Amara. He has a single out. We're trying to put out another single real soon. It's just a bunch of things working out in the pipeline. Oh, we have a gospel artist that we signed, Onosa Rio.
Okay.
And Onosa just dropped an album, Adoration. Just dropped today, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then I also am working with some producers on the side. Marvy again. Marvy's on Davido's last album, about 5 tracks. Yeah, Tuzi is on Benson's last album. I also work with Tuzi as well. He did Yes Sir. So yeah, just cooking, just doing my thing.
It's cooking. I like that.
cooking.
And when it's ready for us to eat, just call us to feast.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And lastly, you said you're working with producers.
Yeah.
What do you think about producers becoming full-fledged artists?
I have my personal sentiments with that in the sense that I do think that most times it's hard to be the guy creating the music and also recording the music, making the beat and then also being the one to record the music. It works 2 times out of 10.
Yeah.
But I would rather the guy be producing and the guy singing. But if you're able to do the two and be a master at them both, I support you. I retweet. It's always a good one. But most times at the end of the day, you always see that they almost always have to leave one to focus on the other.
On one, yes.
And then maybe then be creating time for the other one every now and then. But actively juggling the two at the same time is a tough call. But if you're able to do it, you're that guy.
Okay. I've had a very, very interesting conversation. We've been speaking with Princess Okerugo, aka the Radio Chef. Do you still go by the Radio Chef?
Yeah, I am the Radio Chef. I think that one's sticking with me for life.
Yes, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you so much for having me.
And for inspiring people who have listened to you and maybe want to be in the music business and they're like, I think I can be an A&R. It sounds fun. And I'm sure there's a lot of work too that people don't know. Project management and things.